The Jackson Director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Zoe Lyons. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Zoe.
Good morning.
People might be seeing blue pinwheels around town. We've got a couple organizations that are observing and reminding people that it's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I know that's a big focus for MDHHS.
Right, absolutely. Our goal is to prevent child abuse from ever happening, so yeah.
It'd be nice if someday we didn't have to have organizations that were dedicated to that. So what is it about the month that, what are the things that people need to know to help prevent child abuse?
You know, one of the things that we've been talking about most, I think, in the last, well, probably just the last couple of years, are creating positive childhood experiences. So you've heard us talk about adverse childhood experiences, and child abuse and neglect are a couple of those. And so the new research is out and says we can change the trajectory of our children's lives by creating these positive childhood experiences. And those are really things that every single one of us can do.
And not everyone is, exposed to this, right? So out of sight, out of mind. But you provided some numbers for us. You average monthly about 350 calls, and of those 350 calls, 110 cases are opened. So,
right.
I mean, if we're doing the math, it's significant. Over 1,200 active cases per year in our county.
Right, and that's Jackson. Right. Yeah. So we've just done a lot of great work on the prevention side. So most of my career has been spent responding to things that come in. Now we're really focused on the front end. So what are the things that we can do before families come to our attention? Even in our assistance payment side of our business, where we say, let's get your family some food assistance. Let's get them some Medicaid, remove some of the sort of stressors that families can have. And stress doesn't cause child abuse to happen, but we know that when people's basic needs are met, they're able to focus on some of the things like taking their kids to the park, because I don't have to worry about what we're going to have for lunch, And
in addition to preventing and being aware of the prevention community in child abuse, we also celebrate all of those that work hard. It's got to be, oh my gosh, what a heartbreaking job to be dealing with, families where there's child abuse.
Right. Yeah, we have a really great team, and in May we're going to do some more celebration of them as we talk about foster parenting as well. But one of the things that we try to do in our whole community is create a trauma-informed community, and so we do that within my office as well. And so when some of my staff have something more difficult, they sort of wrap around each other and help take care of each other as well. And that's what we want to see happen in our community. We want to see neighborhoods take care of the children in their neighborhoods, churches take care of the children within their churches. And when we can sort of create that in our community, then we're better off as a community.
I think you said this, but I want to repeat it again. 15% of Michigan youth have 4+ adverse childhood experiences. That's amazing, really.
Yeah.
And these are big experiences,
a
lot of times. So.
Yeah, the trauma that we experience in our childhood anywhere, well, frankly, there's historical trauma now, so we know it can be passed down from one generation to the next. So even before we're born, it's what our parents experience is important. And then it affects our brains. And so one of the things that we talk about when we talk about adverse childhood experiences is a mindset shift. You've probably heard me say this before, but sometimes we look at people and I think the immediate thought is, oh my gosh, what's wrong with that person? But we want to shift away from that, because we know that our experiences can create our behaviors later. And so it's a more empathic response of, I wonder what might have happened in that person's life that is causing them to respond this way. And it's one of the things that we've taught our staff first, because people come into our office with needs, and sometimes it's hard to walk into my office, and so creating just a welcoming experience is what we want to do.
Are there people that don't realize they're being abusive, that they think they're just being maybe a stern parent?
Oh, I would imagine, yeah. A lot of what we do is education. You know, talk about what's an appropriate disciplinary technique. How can we teach when we correct our children instead of you know, harming them long term. So a lot of what we do is getting involved. And even if we find maybe something didn't happen in the family, we use that opportunity to teach them, like, and offer parenting classes or therapy, or we get them connected with some of our local organizations like Partial to Girls, which can provide them with some resources. So, so yeah, a lot of it is teaching. A lot of it is teaching.
And neglect, that's abuse too. So not keeping the child bathed, or the food, or
a
all
lot of
those
things we don't even consider.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, basic needs being met, food, clothing, medical care, those are all the things that we focus on in terms of neglect. Even emotional, like our kids need emotional love and support, and so there can be emotional neglect as well. Lots of times these things overlap with things like substance use disorder, mental health issues, other things that are going on. So again, we create these positive childhood experiences, and the one thing I would just really focus on is, and that we think is, caring adults in the life of a child can make a huge difference.
Right.
So we talk about our teachers and our counselors and our neighborhoods and our aunts and uncles. Like, if you're an adult in this community, find a child and just engage with them and let them know that you care.
I want to talk about quickly calling and reporting. I know you get a lot of calls from schools, but you get a lot of calls from people that, like you said, they care. People, maybe they see something, you call, right? I mean, what's that process like?
So there's a 1-800 number that you can call. People can get onto Michigan.gov and just search for it, or I know it by heart, so we can share it. But they just simply make a call.
Okay.
And the good news is that our centralized intake now is able to send us prevention cases. So
That's
again,
great.
if it doesn't meet the criteria, they're still sending it to us so we can check in with folks.
A lot of good things happening behind the scenes, that's
Right.
for sure.
Right.
But if you see someone like a 1.5-year-old wandering in the street by himself, call the police.
Yes.
Yes.
Stop. Help.
Right. Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes. We get those calls
Yeah, that
as
happens
well.
once in a while.
So can you give us an example of maybe one of these positive childhood experiences that maybe a family could try today?
Yeah. So this is something the community can try. A positive childhood experience is youth having enjoyment in community traditions. So think about all the community traditions that we have in Jackson. We have so many of them. Are there youth there? That's the question I always ask. Are these for the adults, or do the youth also enjoy it? And is there any way that we can make that youth connection for those community events?
Yeah, and every year there's more and more of those that happen right here in Jackson.
Right, right.
Yeah, a lot of people work hard to put on these kinds of things, so take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all this month, but it's not just this month, it's all the time.
It is all the time, right.
Thanks,
right.
Zoe.
Thank you.
Zoe Lyons is the Jackson Director of the Jackson office of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The morning show continues right after this.